Hello and welcome. Kindly join me. Let's draft and sew this 3-tier dress for a 7-year-old child in this video. I'll be leaving the required measurement to drafting and sewing this dress on the screen and as well as in the description box below. As you can see, this dress is so full at the base. I actually used 4 yards of fabric to make this dress and it's looking so pretty. If this is a video you are interested in learning, then join me. Let's get started with the draft, cutting and sewing process. So on the screen here, I have already gone ahead to draw 3 lines on this piece of paper I have here. The first line is my shoulder line, the second is my chest line, and then the third is my waistline. So the required measurement are on the screen, and then let's measure and see. So the half length I'm using is 11 inches. That is the shoulder to the waist. Then the chest line I'm using is 6.75. This is actually for a 7-year-old child, but it can also fit an 8. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to input the shoulder length, half of the shoulder length, which is 5.5 inches. I'll just mark it on the shoulder length here, and also input the 5.5 on the chest line here this way. Then I'm going to join the lines with a broken line. These are just temporary lines I'm drawing. I would use marker for the permanent lines later on. So after drawing this, I'm going to go ahead and also input my neck measurement. I will not be needing this, but I want to use it as a guide. So I did 2.5 by 2.5 inches, and then I'll draw my neck curve. After drawing my neck, I'm going to slope this shoulder by 1 inch. So this is basically me drafting a basic bodice for this child. Then I'll later alter it into the sleeveless dress I am sewing. So the next I'll do is to divide this line into 2 and then draw a line across. So normally for the across back, I normally go in by half an inch. But because this dress is a sleeveless dress, I'm going to go in by 0.75 inches. Draw a line to touch the shoulder slope, and then I'll input a quarter of my bust measurement on the chest line and then draw my armhole curve. Then on the waistline, I'm going to input a quarter of my waist measurement and then draw my waistline to touch my armhole curve line. So I'm done with the basic bodice block. I'm going to go ahead and start my alteration. So from the shoulder line, I'm going to go down by 3 inches. I don't want the chest of this child to be too exposed, so I'll mark 3 inches and then draw a reference line across. Then I'm going to redraw my armhole curve. These are my permanent lines, so I'm actually marking them with a marker. So I'm going to determine how wide I want my straps to be. I'll be working with 1.5 inches, so I'll mark a 1.5 inches here, and then I'll extend the lines upward to form this strap. The length of this strap is going to be about 14 or 15 inches or even more, depending on your preference. And I'm also going to be using a facing to clean the neck and then the armhole of this dress. So for the facing, I'm going to go down by 1 inch on the side this way, and also 1 inch on the chest area. Then I'll draw in my facing pattern. So this is my facing. I'll just shade it out, and remember I'll be using the same pattern for both the front and then the back, and I'll cut out the main pattern first before I cut out the facing. So I'm done with drafting the pattern. This is the pattern here, and I have shaded the part I'll be using for my facing. Like I said earlier, I'm going to be using this pattern to cut out both the front and then the back. For the front, I'll be cutting this pattern on fold, and for the back, in order to aid ease of wearing this dress, I'll be cutting out 2 pieces for the back so that I'll attach a zipper at the back. So these are my pattern pieces. This is what I'll be working with. So I'm going to go ahead and then cut them out on the main fabric. So I'll cut out the pattern first, and afterwards I'll cut out the facing. So these are my pattern pieces that I've cut out here. You can see I've cut out the front on fold, and then I cut out the facing for the front. This is how the facing is looking like. And then for the straps, I have 4 straps that I'll be using for this dress. Remember to cut out the front and back pattern first before you cut out the facing. So I'm going to go ahead and then stitch the facing on the front fabric. But before I do that, let me show you how the back pieces look like. These are the back 2 pieces for the back. I added 1/2 inch seam allowances to the back, the center back, to make room for my zipper, and then onto the sides of both the front and the back I added 1 inch of seam allowance. And then the armhole area I added 1/2 inch, and then on the shoulder area or the chest area I added 1/2 inch as well as seam allowances. Then on the waist I did 1/2 inch as well. So these are my 4 straps I have here to make this dress. So this is the right side of my fabric for the front, which I have cut on fold. I have the front side, the right side of this fabric is facing me. So I'm going to place the straps on the fabric this way. Remember to leave about 1/2 inch, the seam allowance I added from the armhole area as you are placing the strap. So I'll place the first strap on the chest this way, and then the second strap also goes to the other side of the armhole. Remember to leave the seam allowances that was added when I was cutting out this fabric. So I'll place both straps on the fabric, the right side of the fabric this way. Then I'll also place the facing on top of the straps, and I'll pin the facing down, and afterwards I'll head to my sewing machine and then stitch this down on 1/2 inch from the armhole through to the chest line on 1/2 inch seam allowance, just to hold the straps in place and also to clean the armhole and the chest like I said. So afterwards I'll repeat same for the back pieces as well. So these are the pattern pieces, both the front and then the back. After stitching them down on 1/2 inch, this is what it looks like. Cut out any excess fabric from the center line and then notch the armhole area so that this can be more relaxed, and then it will also look neat as well. So I'm going to just turn the fabric inside out. This is the wrong side. I'll turn it inside out, and then I'll head to my ironing table and give it a very good press so that it will lay flat. So after pressing it on the ironing table, take a look at it. It's looking so neat now, looking so beautiful, just like we want it. So the next I'm going to do is I added 1 inch seam allowances to the sides of this dress, both the front and then the back, and then 1/2 inch to the waist area. So I'm going to go ahead and then pin my sides by that seam allowance I added, and then I'll head to my sewing machine and then stitch both sides down on 1 inch seam allowance. So this is it here. After stitching it down, this is what we have. The dress is looking gorgeous already. So to make the tiers, this is the first tier. I'm going to be making 3 times the waist measurement of this dress, but my fabric is not so long enough, so I'll be cutting out 3 times the waist of this dress and then stitching them on the sides. Then I'll head to my sewing machine and then draw gathers and then attach it to the bodies of this dress. After the first tier, I'm also going to cut out 3 times the first tier, the width of the first tier, thrice that measurement and then gather the second tier as well. So this is going to be for this is the first tier, 3 times for the second tier, and also 3 times for the third tier as well, so that I can get this dress to be very full. But if you don't want it to be full, then you can do 1.5 or 2 times the measurement of the waist. So this is what it looks like after drawing gathers on the first tier and attaching to the waist. This is what I have here. Look at the back. I've added a matching zipper to the back of this dress. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to add the second and then the third tiers that I have gathered. So this is the second tier. I'll be attaching it to the very first one, and then this is the third tier. The length of this tier is about 7 inches for each of them. So I'm just going to join the second and third tier together and then hem this dress. And it's as simple as that. This is the final look of the dress, looking so gorgeous and beautiful. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and you give it a try. Thank you so much for making time to watch this video. We will see you in our next video. Thank you so much for watching.